I was also using the most popular study method of watching lectures, writing a lot of notes, rereading the notes. But in the exam, in the quizzes, in the mock tests, I wasn't improving at all. So I began my journey to find the effective study methods that are there that top students uses. There are a lot of things that are there in studying effectively. Learning new content for the first time, revising content, how to revise so that we can remember for long term. So today I'm going to talk about the best revision method to remember things for long term, and that is retrieval practice. First, we have to understand why the traditional popular method fails. The problem with the traditional and most popular method of studying is it's very passive. Whenever you try to reread your notes, first thing you will definitely going to fall asleep because it's not very active way of learning. It's very boring, and when you try to study using rereading, it feels very easy. You are rereading your notes and your mind gives you the false confidence that you know the content, but when you give the exam, you see the reality that I thought I know the content, I thought I know the concept, but in reality, that wasn't the case. And that's why rereading fails. It gives you the false confidence, it gives you the false thought in your mind that you know the content, you get the concepts, but when you give the exam, when you give the test, you see the reality that that wasn't the case. And that's why rereading fails. The exciting thing about retrieval practice method is it will reduce the amount of time you have to revise the concepts because it will help you to retain the information for long term, so your number of revision will reduce. So what is retrieval practice? It is when you try to recall stuff from your memory. You are not rereading things, but you are asking yourself some questions like, what is that concept? And you try to recall stuff from your brain. What will happen when you try to do that? Number one, you will struggle a lot in the beginning, but when you recall it from your memory, like a concept that you are trying to recall from your memory, when you recall that concept, you will feel really, really good, and you feel the real confidence that comes from doing the actual learning. And that's when the actual learning happens. When you try to recall stuff from your memory, not rereading or consuming it from consuming in, you are trying to pull the information out. That's when real learning happens, and that's what retrieval practice is. And one thing is really hard to use retrieval practice method and change your habit from the most popular method of studying of rereading, because that's easy, but retrieval practice method is tough and it's effortful, but the results or return of investment of your time is much higher in retrieval practice. Retrieval practice will actually make you feel that you are really learning something, and there are very less chance of you will get bored by learning this method, using this method. And whenever you feel discomfort while learning using this method, that is a good sign that you are using the right method of learning, and you are actually using your time to learn things effectively so that you will remember stuff for longer term. Okay, so now the question comes, will I not forget the content? Now, if I use retrieval practice method, will I be able to remember stuffs for forever? That's not the case. You're going to forget, and forgetting is an important part of retrieval practice. There are a lot of different things that you need to know about retrieval practice. Number one is spaced retrieval. Means you space out your retrieval practice. Suppose you learn a new content today, then you try to recall the revision, you try to revise that stuff in the night. You are walking in the park and you try to recall stuff. Okay, what concept that I learned in the morning, you try to recall that, and you are walking and you try to recalling your stuff from your brain that day, and then after 3 days you try to recall. Now after 3 days, the amount of things that you learned at the time is, you almost forget a lot of it, but when you try to recall it after 3 days, then you are strengthening those connections that you learned that concept. And now when you do it one more time after 7 days or after 15 days, you are making those connections more and more stronger. So in long term, after 2 to 3 revision, you will be able to remember those concept for very longer term. You do not need to revise at least for 3-4 months, and that's how it helps in our learning compared to rereading the notes and getting the false confidence of knowing the concepts. There are a lot of retrieval practice methods. Try to teach someone else, try to teach your friend, ask yourself questions about the concept, create your own questions, test yourself regularly, or solve practice problem if you are using it for maths. and try to read your notes and try to create a mind map or explain or write down everything on a piece of paper. Brain dump everything. Use AI to generate questions. You have to complete this checklist so to verify that you learned a core topic really well. You're able to explain it, you're able to recall most of it from your brain, and you're able to solve most of the questions that are there on that topic. And that's when you truly understood the topic. So my final message is real learning happens when you try to pull information out of your brain. You are not just spending watching lecture, consuming content, reading notes again and again, and giving yourself all confidence. You have to make an effort to actually learn something by pulling information out of your brain. That's when real learning happens. And if you're not using that and rereading the notes, I spent 2 years watching lectures, writing notes, rereading the notes, and avoiding practice questions, avoiding mock tests a lot of because I fear that I will not get a good score. So that's a waste of time. Change your method now, otherwise I'm going to upload few videos about learning effectively, so check out it here.